Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host this evening, Logan Landers. And joining me to talk about the 2021 team preview for the Memphis Tigers is my man, Jay McLovin. What up, Jay?
Hey, it's nice to be here, man. Talk some good Memphis football. And, it's been a pretty crazy, last couple of days in sports, especially with the NBA. But it's good to talk some good college football since that's obviously not too far in the distant future that we'll be playing those games.
No doubt, man. It's going to be good. And, of course, we're talking about Memphis today, representing the 901, our guy, Vince Turner. He turned the keys over to me on this one, so I'm going to do him proud. I'm going to represent Memphis, and I'm going to do him good this week. But, hey, if you guys enjoy this content here tonight, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live every single week on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. Also, if you've not already, please go check out our podcast. We upload daily episodes, whether it be team previews, legends interviews, you name it, anything football related, it is over there for your enjoyment. And we love doing all this and making sure that you guys have all the best football content on a daily basis. Jay, let's get into this one, man. Let's kick things off today talking about the Memphis Tigers 2021 team preview. As usual, man, what do you like about this team coming into this year?
Well, I like their offense. I think they have a pretty good offensive style play. They put up pretty decent yards and pretty decent points, honestly, last year. They put up, 453 yards, 31 points a game. Very consistent passing game, which is what, I think is nice. And then, they do have a little bit of competition between Arizona's transfer, Grant Gunnell, and the big and mobile guy. He's big and mobile, so he should get the nod. But there's a couple of guys in there that could give him some competition. But I do think that overall Grant Gunnell is going to be the guy that's going to be leading this offense. And the only downside is a little bit they have an inconsistent run game. But honestly, their defense isn't all that. They got some issues with their defense. We'll get more of that in a minute. But what I like most about it is I like the quarterback's play. I like the passing game. And they did put up some good points last year and some good yardage, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, this team is going to have a little bit of an overhaul. They are getting a new quarterback, like we said. Brady White, no longer there, and he did basically all you can ask for as a great quarterback at Memphis, threw for over 11,000 yards and 90 touchdowns. So you're leaving a good part of your offense. He went undrafted in 2021, so you're going to have to start fresh. And like you said, I think that – I'm with you, Jay. I think Grant Gunnell is going to be the guy who they're probably going to get week one. But also don't forget Peter Parrish is there as well as the former LSU star recruit. So you have both of those guys going to be kind of battling it out. But I think Gunnell is going to get the starting job week one. That could change, though. You never know, especially in college football, man. Coaches are, I wouldn't say quick, but coaches do tend to yank players out more often than they do in the pros. And we'll have to see how whoever starts week one, how they're going to do and how they're going to perform for the remainder of the season. But I do agree. Yeah, the running game has been kind of a weak spot for them on offense as of late, but maybe they can get it back, though. I mean, they did lose a few guys on the O-line as well. Let's not forget that. So that's not going to help out your running game or your passing game either. You did lose Obina Eza to TCU, so that is going to help. But you do have three starters coming back, like Matt Dale, like Dylan Parham. So that is going to help on the O-line, but it's a little bit of a question mark for me, Jay. It's not set in stone that this team's offense is going to be off the charts. That's going to be, putting up 30, 40 points a night. It's going to be, I think there's going to be some games where they're going to have trouble scoring the ball. And I think that might be kind of a crux for them this year, but they could work on it. They could get a few guys who could surprise and who could really kind of step out and who could have a really good year. I'm expecting Calvin Austin, the receiver, to have a great year this year. He did good. He did pretty solid last year. He came off an all-star 63 catch, 11 touchdown season last year. Jay, I think he could possibly get in the higher teens with that. He had 11. I think he could maybe get 15 plus. You never know. It just depends on how much you're going to throw to the young man. And I will say this right now. I expect him to get over 1,000 yards for sure in the passing game. There's no doubt in my mind he'll get that. I think get him over 1,000 yards in the air and then get 15 touchdowns. You have a number one receiver right there. So I think that I'm with you. I think the offense, it is going to be kind of hit and miss on certain days. I think just depending on who they're playing and the defenses. But I think that we are going to see some flashes of brilliance with this Tigers team. But let's go over on to the defensive side of things. What do you think the Tigers can improve on coming into 2021?
Yeah, they got to stop the run. Honestly, they got to stop the run. They got to get better at third down, stopping the ball on third down. They give up way too many third downs. But yeah, they got roasted a lot last year. They took the ball away too. Don't get me wrong. They had some picks, but they were bad against the run. Honestly, their secondary was a star of that. I feel like they had a slew of players returning in that secondary. So the safeties are a strength. Honestly, at the end of the day, the safeties are a really good strength, especially I say his name wrong. Quindell Johnson. He's a good tackler. Had 81 stops and 3 picks. So I like Quindell, and I like Rodney Owens. He had 3 picks and 53 tackles. So I think the secondary is good. But I see the weaknesses more like in that front line and even into that that linebacker unit. They had, I think, on the defense, look at the defensive front. The one bright spot was 275-pound Morris Joseph as a pass rusher. He led the team with 7 sacks, 52 tackles for loss. So I mean, the guy put up great stuff. You got JJ Russell, who's an undersized middle linebacker, but it shows flashes of what he could be. So I think there's some question marks in the defensive line and the linebackers, but that secondary seems to be very solid. So we'll have to wait and see. But as a whole, I think the defense, it's unproven right now against the run, and that's really what concerns me. It's not so much the passing, but it's a run game. I think they have a hard time stopping the run game.
Yeah, I'm with you. And they did lose a few pieces on their defense. You mentioned Morris Joseph, who is going to be taking over for Joseph Dorcius, who moved to Tulane. I mean, he had a solid season with Memphis. Now he's going over to a different school. I think Joseph can step in. Like you said, he did lead the team with 7 sacks and 52 tackles last year. So I expect him to kind of step up his production as well, especially with more games being played this year. I expect him to do good, like you said, Duckworth, as well as Robinson and White. I think they're going to be fine on the D-line, I believe. I think those guys are all going to take a step up this year and really going to improve, getting to the quarterback and getting those, good hits, good fumbles, and sacking them a little bit more. But I think that I'm with you, Jay. The defense did get a little bit too roasted, too burnt last year, just because they just weren't able to keep up. Like you said, they lost some guys on their defense, but it's all right though because they do have the safeties, who I think are going to be a strength. You have Johnson, who's a great tackler, had 81 stops and 3 picks. Owens, like you said as well, he has a good game as well. So I think that even though they did lose TJ Carter at TCU as one of their corners, you do have Jacoby Francis, who is coming back, and you also have Julian Barnett, who's coming over from Michigan State to kind of fill in. So I think the Tigers' defense, I don't know if it's going to be kind of stagnant like last year, Jay, or if they're going to take a step forward slightly. I'm not expecting a big leap, but I do think they could take a small step forward in getting that defense a little bit more primed and a little bit more ready for those bigger games they have coming up this season. So let's go over to the schedule now for Memphis, because we were talking a little bit before we went on air, and they have a few tough games, but this is I would say, a pretty winnable schedule if you are a Tigers fan. I'm looking here just a few of the games that they're going to play. I see Mississippi State. I see Tulsa. I see UCF. I see Houston. But other than that, Jay, I mean, I think this is a fairly easy kind of winnable schedule if you are a Memphis Tigers fan. What do you think about how their schedule is shaking out this year?
Yeah, I had pretty much the same ones you had. I didn't have Tulsa. I had in lieu of Tulsa, I had SMU. I had Mississippi State, UCF, SMU, and Houston as being the 4 games that I think they're going to struggle with. And if they can win 1 or 2 games out of there, that could put them in really good position. But yeah, I think 9-4 is a very realistic target. Whether you have Tulsa or SMU, I think 9-4, 8-5, 9-4. Seems to be the target for where I think these guys are going to land.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I could definitely see them having a very good season. I expect them to be in a bowl game at the end of the year. I don't expect them to be in the AAC championship quite yet. They do have a very talented team. It's just that they're facing up against a lot of good competition in that conference. So they are making good steps. They have a good team. And I think as long as they keep building on the momentum, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to have a very good 2021 season. And who knows what the Tigers could be doing in the future, Jay. They could potentially get into that AAC championship. Because, I mean, you had a good year last year with Ryan Silverfield who was their coach. They had an 8-3 record. So I think that they should be fine. I think they're going to be just about, I'd say about the same, maybe a little bit better than last year. But I need to see how, like you mentioned, how the quarterback play is going to be with a brand new guy under center. If the defense can stop the run, and how those new transfers and how if they can replace some of the guys that they've lost, who's going to be able to step up and be that one key factor both on offense and defense. We're going to have to see how that unfolds throughout the year. But what are your final thoughts on this Memphis Tigers team before we wrap things up here today?
Yeah, my offensive player, I think, is Calvin Austin. He's a speedster, sprinter, track-like speed. So I got him as being the main guy on offense that look out for. Defense, I got safety Quindell Johnson. He's an ace-free safety. He's got 58 tackles. His freshman season, 81 stops, 3 picks, and 5 broken up passes altogether. So he's my defensive guy, I think, to look out for. And on the offense, I think the key for that would be they're going to have to set the run game up nice. They're going to have to, get that run game going. For defense, and I'll wrap it up with that, is they need more from that pass defense and the run defense. Both sides of the ball, or both sides of the defense, have to step up. They got roasted for over 200 yards on more than one occasion. So it seems like on their passing game they give up a lot, the passing and the run. So there's a lot of issues there, but. I do expect, they're a little more mature now with experience from last year, and a lot of the guys came back. So let's see what they can do. I think their defense will be a little bit better, and I do expect to see good things out of their offense, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just my final thoughts on this team. I think that they are making a good step. They have a good coach. They had a good season last year. They got a bowl win in the Alamo Bowl, I believe. So they did good in that aspect. I think they can definitely build off of that momentum. It was actually the Montgomery Bowl, excuse me. So I think that they're going to be good this year. But I'm with you, Jay. Can that defense step up? Can they not give up nearly as many yards? Because like we said, there are some games where they look fine, and then there's some when they gave up, 500, 600 yards. So just being more consistent on the defensive side of the ball is a key for me this year. And I think the big one that I had circled whenever I was doing my research is getting the running game back on track. If the Tigers can get a solid running game going once again, like they had a few years ago, I think that they should be fine. And this team, like I said, I have them penciled in already for a bowl game, and it would not surprise me that in a few years, Jay, they could be in that AAC championship.
Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, and I don't think they're that far off. Like I said, 9-4, 8-5, that should be good enough to get you in some level of a bowl game.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, hey, if you guys have enjoyed this video here today, first off, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch each and every week. Also, if you've not done so already, please go over and check out our podcast. We are available anywhere podcasts are listened to, whether it be Spotify, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Audible now. And that's thanks to the Believe Podcast Network, who've been helping us out for pretty much, we're getting close to a year now. So thank you to everyone over there who's helped us get a podcast going. And thank you all listeners who, download our shows each and every day. Like I mentioned, we have a great cast and crew here. Myself, Jay, our amazing producer, Jeremiah Long, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, former FSU star and Atlanta Falcon, Bobby Butler, and one of the best coaches in all of Georgia, Kevin Bull Jones, to make up our team here. So go check us out. We have great team previews, legends interviews, anything football related. You can guarantee you can find it over there at 100 Yards of Football. Listen to our podcast. Go check out some of our other shows. And just thank you guys so much for tuning in each and every week. Well, for my co-host, Jay McLovin, I've been your host today, Logan Landers. You guys are listening to the 2021 team preview for the Memphis Tigers, representing the 901 here today at 100 Yards of Football. Stay tuned because we got another great video for you in just a little bit. See you then.